Sex trafficking is happening on an island somewhere else. Rape or sexual assault is not happening in my community, not in my family, and definitely not at the church. That's the story that many of us would like to believe. But that wasn't the truth in my life. From the ages of 4 to 16, I experienced multiple types of sexual violence and sex trafficking from family members, church leaders, and close family friends. And some of them were women. And out of all of those experiences, only one person went to jail. For 6 years? While I serve what feels like a lifetime sentence of healing, of learning how to love and value myself, and trusting the very communities I once thought would protect me. I wish that I can tell you that these stories are rare. But in 2024, almost 4,000 survivors of sexual assault sought help in the state of South Carolina. And an additional 400 potential human trafficking survivors contacted the hotline. And of these numbers, 88% never completed a police report. When we think about these numbers, it would be thousands more if we think about what's happening in our communities. These numbers doesn't include all of the survivors who don't report, or even the survivors that contact the organizations directly. And that is why I started my organization. Because some survivors, they have a sense of fear. Fear that they'll be believed, fear that someone that they are connected to and that they love and are dependent on is a part of it. We provide wraparound supportive services to survivors for up to 18 months so that survivors can rebuild and regain their sense of independence. Let me tell you about Sarah. Sarah found out that we had opened our first youth safe house in the city of North Charleston, South Carolina. She found out on the radio, and she called the number, and I answered. And I listened to her story. She had experienced childhood sexual abuse, and in her early teenage years, her mother struggled with paying household bills and with substance abuse. And her mom used her and exploited her. And when Sarah ran away from that experience, she went with her boyfriend because she thought he would protect her, but he exploited her too. And now we're on the phone. She's 19, has a 9th grade education, has no close, safe relationships with family or friends, and no transportation to make it to safety. So I pick her up from a very unsafe place, and I bring her to the safe house. I'll never forget the first question she asked me when she was about to take a shower. Can I close the door? Yes, of course you can. And everything you need is on the inside. You can take as long as you want. I'll be right here when you're done. And as the tears rolled down her face, I realized this was the first time in a long time that Sarah had a choice. One that most of us don't even think twice about. Within the next several weeks, I sat down with her one-on-one to understand what her goals were and what barriers she thought would exist that would prevent her from reaching them. I invested my time, support, and resources. So she started one-on-one sessions with therapists. We provided transportation to and from doctor's appointments and job interviews. And while Sarah was in the program, Sarah earned her high school diploma. She started a new job, and by the time she graduated, we helped Sarah move into her new apartment that she's still at today, and she started a new family and is now a supervisor at that job. See, it's stories like this why this work exists. Because Sarah didn't just survive, she rebuilt her life. And she evolved too. Actually, so did I. Through stories like this and many other stories where we've helped others, I realized that we've built programs, systems, and safe spaces that I once needed myself. This is something that you all can be a part of, a really big change in our community. It's way more simple than you may think. Don't worry, let me show you how. First, listen without judgment. Sometimes the most powerful thing we can do is listen. 2, invest your time, support, and resources to help survivors in your community. And 3, evolve the way in which you think about a survivor's journey. Because once you learn, you can take that into your circles, your workspaces, your church, your community. Because change happens only when we choose to engage. So to the survivors in this room, I know that you are here. You are not alone, and your voice has power. We are creating safe spaces that are understanding how to support you. So I ask you, will you turn your volume down so we can act like it's happening on some island somewhere else? Or will you turn the volume of your voice up so that we can amplify the voices of survivors to create safe spaces, to evolve the way in which we think about their experience, and invest our time, support, and resources to create sustainable change together?